I want to welcome you to an all-new episode of Laid Back History. I know there's been a little bit of a break. Like last year, after the 25 days of the Advent calendar, I needed a little bit of time off. So I took January and February off. Wasn't planning on taking March off, but we got busy with other things. But finally back. And I've got a little bit of a short episode for you today. Just this past week, myself and Rich and Brian were out doing some filming for Searchers, because Searchers is back too. We're going to have some new episodes coming out of Searchers as well. And we ended up at this beautiful farmstead, and the owners were incredibly generous to let us come on and do some metal detecting and take a look around, and it was a gorgeous home. And their family, the Loeb family, they've owned it since 1901. And they've done a wonderful job doing restoration work on it and keeping the historic nature of it and trying to maintain it as best as they can. And they've done a wonderful job with that. While we were there, again, we did some detecting and found a couple things, not as much as we had hoped, but came across a beautiful springhouse that they have done a great job of restoring. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about springhouses, and that's what this episode is about. So just a quick 4 or 5 minute tour of that springhouse, a little bit of history that goes with springhouses. But after coming back, we did a little bit of looking in that house. On the window, there was a section of it, of the window that said 1867. So we knew when it was built. And the current owners, as I said, were wonderful. And they had said, it's in a book somewhere. So I had a feeling I knew what it was going to be. I had a feeling it was going to be Preserving Our Past, which was done by the Washington County History and Landmarks Foundation in 1975, something like that. I had a feeling it was going to be that. So I went and looked it up, and it actually is in there. So we now know that it was built by Alexander Montgomery in 1867. He is, from what I can tell, either a son or a real close relative to William Montgomery, who was a judge in this area. So got to do a little more digging and find out a little more information. But they built the farm, built that house in 1867. Alexander Montgomery did. And it is, you look at it and it's been so well maintained. But we got to go around and take a look at it. And as I said, one of the stops was the Springhouse. So I'm going to go ahead and let you tour with me as I take a look at the Springhouse. So we're out doing some detecting and some filming at an 1867 farmhouse. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, what a gorgeous site that we're lucky enough to be at. Can't thank the landowners enough. We're doing some detecting, but I wanted to stop for a second, just tell a little bit of history, of this building right here. This is a springhouse. Springhouses were vital to farms, especially if you're looking at a dairy farm prior to refrigeration. This was your where we have our refrigerator, our freezer. This was it. I mean, this type of building is where it was. So let's walk down here just a little bit. Prior to refrigeration, you basically had springhouses. The idea is that you would build it either over top of or near a spring. A naturally occurring spring where you would have spring water that would come in. That is groundwater that's coming from deep underground, and it's cool. It's not, maybe not freezer level, but it's not far off. I mean, we're talking about very cold water, and so what you would want to do is either build a stone line channel or somehow pipe it in to the springhouse, or you could build a springhouse right over top of it. As you can see here, we've got a spring that's coming through, a naturally occurring spring. They've built up stone around it so that they could channel it in, and then it actually runs underneath this more modern poured concrete. It runs into the bottom side of the springhouse, into a nice little tub that's here. I gotta duck down into a tub that's here, stone tub, a stone trough, I guess maybe is a better way of putting it. And so the water runs through, and you can see it's still running. I mean, look at this. It's still running. So this groove that's cut in there is to allow the water to continually circulate, so that you don't have stale water that's in here, but rather the water is constantly coming in. It's constantly being cooled. And so you could put dairy products in here. You could keep other items cold. There's a can of Sprite being cooled in there right now. But you could have refrigeration before refrigeration was a thing, right? And so it's just a great feature. You're going to find these at pretty much every major farm. Because again, how else are you going to keep things good? How are you going to keep them preserved before they go bad? And so this was it. This was the whole idea. So dairy farms, it becomes very important. I've seen some dairy farms that have 5 or 6 troughs that you would have water flowing into, so that they could keep things cool, and keep their cream, keep their milk cool, and keep it preserved. And then also in here, totally not dealing with the Springhouse, but we've basically got a Pee Wee Herman bike back there, which is pretty cool. So from my childhood, that really stands out. But what a great feature. What an important piece of American history, because with Springhouses, so much of our product would have went bad. Dairies would have had an incredibly hard time. And yet you've got this here, absolutely gorgeous. Beautifully manufactured. I mean, look at the skill of being able to harness this water. I'm telling you, the farmers of the late 18th, 19th century, they had so many different levels of skills to be able to lay stone. I mean, they were farmers, they were masons, they could do it all. And it's just absolutely unbelievable. So just wanted to kind of point out the Springhouse here, just take a look at it. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. So there you go. What a great building. What a cool little building it is. I love odd little pieces of history or little things we don't think about. Springhouses were such a huge part of everyday life for a long time. I mean, even where I grew up, out on our farm, there was a natural spring that my dad had a little building around it. We pumped water up from it. I mean, for a long time, that was where our water came from. My grandfather also had a spring that the cattle would drink at, and he had a nice cast iron bathtub that caught all the water. It wasn't as fancy to have a nice hand carved stone trough. He just had a cast iron bathtub, and it worked just fine. So never had really any issues with it. It wasn't quite as fancy as the hand carved stone trough, but it did its job. So. But they were incredibly important Springhouses, and I just thought it'd be neat to take a look at one. So once again, thank you to the Logue family for welcoming us on there. I mean, we just cold stopped. We just saw somebody in the driveway and said, "Let's go take a look at the house," and they were so generous to let us do that. So thank you to them, and hopefully they're watching. But. So that's it. And we'll be back 2 weeks with another all new episode of Laid Back History, and take a look. Look up the Real Searchers. Our Facebook page got hacked, and so we had to switch it to the Real Searchers. Take a look there. We've got some new videos up, and we'll be posting new stuff all the time. So hope everyone had a great day, and